has very short corners, but they're slow speed, but it doesn't have a lot of S's or high speed corners. And I think that because it's not, I don't think it's a technical track, and because it's not a technical track, balance and tire deg are not as important. So that's why I believe that Ferrari will win because Ferrari has a lot of and horsepower and acceleration and top speed, whereas McLaren doesn't. But McLaren has a little bit more balance than Ferrari. But the slow speed corners are very short, so it won't take its toll on Ferrari. So to me, Ferrari are the favorites. What do you think, Lorato? And if you look at the
Yeah,
track from 12 to 14, that is basically a straight line. Even though it's not a straight line, it has some curves, but that's all
sure,
out
sure, sure,
pace,
sure.
all out pace. And we know
Yeah,
that
yeah,
McLaren
yeah.
is not made for pace. I mean, McLaren doesn't have slow pace, but that's not their McLaren's strength is that when you have technical tracks with a lot of S's and there's not extended XS's, which is what McLaren is good at because of their balance. But even Ferrari, even on those types of tracks, Ferrari's not far behind because they've advanced their back wing. But I think this type of track gives the advantage to Ferrari and also to teams like Haas, which has high top speed. So I think
Sure.
we have a tale of two stories. I think Ferrari will beat McLaren, and I think Haas actually has a chance of beating Aston Martin and coming fifth, maybe even challenging Mercedes on this type of track. What do you think?
Have proper pace on those long straights,
Yeah,
with that Ferrari powertrain, obviously.
yeah,
Um, but I think that the other team that we should be talking about as well is Alpine, because they did
yeah,
very well in last year's race as well.
yeah,
Um, and coming from a good race in Brazil, I think that the guys will be
yeah, yeah,
feeling good about the race. Um, Williams also, I mean, last year they was still dealing with Sargent, but Albon didn't
yeah.
do very badly as well. So
Colapinto,
this,
yeah,
yeah, this race or the track itself seems to allow for a lot of movement in terms of between the mid and the top field. I don't think it's gonna be like a straightforward
yeah.
uh
I'm
me-
predicting
me- me-
Ferrari, but
yeah,
that's
like
just a
it's
tentative.
I
It's a tentative prediction. Yeah,
yeah, we know it's Ferrari, Max Verstappen, and McLaren
yeah.
in that order.
Norris has a chance for coming second or third, but I doubt he'll do it. And I think Norris is dejected. I think his season is finished. And for some reason, this guy is also checked out. He's not taking it too seriously because he doesn't like being the number two Piastri. So I think what we're seeing is, like you said, is probably the Ferrari may come 1-2 with Verstappen three or Verstappen second. We never bet against Verstappen. He may win it, but if you look at the numbers and the cars, he doesn't have the car to win. Also, the Red Bull car is a good balance between um, downforce and high speed. It's not really good between both of them. But with this type of track, which doesn't have tire deck, you could see Verstappen, the Red Bull car, will be fighting for second, third, or fourth. What do you think, Lorado? Yeah,
No, for sure. I mean, the straights have proven to be a
yeah,
real test, even when you look at all the like track telemetry and everything.
yeah,
Max is always fastest through corners,
yeah,
but over long straights he becomes over accelerated
yeah. And so
by
this
either
goes to point
Ferrari
towards
or
yeah,
by McLaren. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So sorry, this points to the point that actually, funny enough, even the Red Bull car suffers on technical tracks. Technical tracks is what Max likes because he's the new generation driver who can figure out things by finding grip, probing the corners and stuff. And that just shows
Sure,
the
sure.
brilliance of Max.
Vegas is like one of the, I think, least technical.
Yeah, it's not
Uh,
very technical. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, in terms of the numbers of corners and things like that. But there is that challenge in the first and second corners,
yeah,
around
yeah,
there, that
yeah,
that I think is the most challenging part. And of course, because of that long straight that comes into the last turn, we see a lot of overtakes there.
yeah. And
Um,
there are DRS corners right when you enter the corner
for
on
sure,
both of
for
them.
sure,
Yeah,
we,
yeah,
we see a lot of overtakes there, and
yeah,
overtakes towards the that last turn,
yeah,
towards the finish line. We'll,
yeah,
we'll be seeing, and I think this is how the track was built with that in mind, to be an
yeah,
entertaining race, so
yeah,
that we see a lot of
yeah,
overtakes, and also because then it is, at this stage of the championship, if you have Lando and Max up front, passing each other back and forth, and all that sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah, but you have to
It,
watch out for Ferrari because
yeah,
Ferrari has the best. If a race was only 20 laps, Ferrari will win.
for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But yeah, but
Race, yeah. And
yeah,
also,
yeah, yeah,
like we said,
between the
I think it's going to
title.
be fun to see what Haas does because people are saying Mercedes should come fourth, but I'm like, I don't think Haas will beat Mercedes, but I wouldn't be surprised if Haas
Yeah,
is the fourth or fifth fastest car in this track. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. George Russell can be in the top 10
Oh yeah, and then Russell also. And here's the thing about
or
Russell.
in the top
Russell is
five.
a. I'm predicting that Russell might come very close to a podium, come fourth or fifth, because he's a hustler and this type of track is vague enough for him, and he's a good racer and everything. So, and we know that Russell's not that great on very, very technical tracks, but on a track like this, which is the balance between speed and corners, you might be surprised by what he will do. I think Russell will overachieve. Let's put it like that. He'll do better than he'll make the most out of that Mercedes. I'm not talking bad about Hamilton because Hamilton has other issues going on, and I think Hamilton is thinking about Ferrari now and is also dejected. But I think we need to watch out for Russell. Quickly, what do you think? Then we'll go
Yeah,
to Afolabi. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. No, so that's why I'm saying it.
yeah,
Like in terms of who's gonna come out in the middle, it could be anyone, and anyone who's down there in the middle can
yeah.
take advantage of any mishaps that happens
Yeah.
up
I,
front.
I like what you said because if you're Ferrari or McLaren, if you make any strategical mistakes, Russell's going to pass you. That's one thing about Russell.
Russell's gonna be there.
He's
Yeah,
the most
sure.
opportunistic driver on the grid. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. It means he puts himself in a position to be there. You know, if
Sure,
you make
sure, sure.
mistakes, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I quite agree with you guys. My own take is that as far as the championship is concerned, I think this is pretty much wrapped up by Max. But there'll be
Yeah.
an intense competition between Ferrari and McLaren for the constructors. So I believe
Yeah.
Ferrari will be up for this, and they would have come to Las Vegas with some interesting upgrades, especially the floor of the car. But I believe that in terms of the race performance, I will still stick with Max. Max has a knack of bringing up championship level performance whenever it matters, when he's under pressure. You can imagine
Yeah.
how Interlagos went in Sao Paulo. You know, people had written him off before that
That was
race,
crazy, man.
but he put up a dominant performance, you know, to show people again how good he was. And if you look at Lando Norris, when it really matters and when he's under pressure, he makes schoolboy errors. So you can't really put your money on Lando. So my
Yeah.
take
And